All right, so the Liberal strategy for the upcoming election is looking like it's going to be, and predictably so, just buy as many votes as possible. In that you can see in this tweet from Justin Trudeau, he's making a couple proposed policy changes in a 15% increase in CCB for kids under 1, which I think is some sort of a benefit. Tax-free maternity and parental benefits, so he's going to expand upon what there already is. 15-week leave for adoptive parents. Again, I'm not sure exactly why you need leave if you're adopting kids. Doesn't really make sense to me, especially that long. Like, you think you'd be able to get used to it within a month or so, but I don't know. Paid family leave for every parent with a new child. Again, that's just more the like I said, the Liberal strategy is just promise more and more and more until you can't do it anymore, and they've already done that. Like, we're already spending way more than we possibly can to get by, so this is just more debt. And the problem is, I mean, it's good for the Liberals, but policies like this really appeal to stupid and selfish people, and that selfish in that the poor selfish people, like someone who's making a lot of money, this doesn't really matter to. And it kind of cracks me up because people on the left simultaneously will argue the right only cares about the rich, but then they'll also argue that that people on the left tend to be smarter. But you know that the more money you make, the smarter you are on average. I mean, IQ and income are very closely related, so they kind of contradict themselves on that. So that's something I wanted to point out because, again, the left simultaneously argues the right only cares about the rich. They'll All their policy positions are basically geared towards helping the poor, the poorest of the poor. I mean, both sides want to help the poor, but the left literally gets by because they get voted in on people who are, very poor usually. Like, if the left lost, let's say, the bottom 25% of earners, which, I mean, a lot of those people are earning nothing, they would get destroyed in elections. And simultaneously, if the right lost, I mean, the right is generally the party of the middle to upper middle class. The super rich tend to actually support the Democrats or the Liberals in Canada, and that's because, if you're super rich, generally increasing regulation won't affect you because you already you're established in the market, right? Like, if you're Mark Zuckerberg, new regulations in tech and on the internet and all this kind of stuff isn't going to affect them because they already have a monopoly basically on this kind of stuff. Or if you're Jeff Bezos or any of these kind of people. Now, I don't know. I mean, Zuckerberg's a lefty. I don't know about Bezos, but like I said, the super rich, they support the left usually because a lot of times people get super rich because of political connections. Like, you got your Nancy Pelosi's and these kind of people who have, I think, like $150,000 a year salaries, who are worth, $200 million net worth. So that's kind of how they get rich. But another thing I wanted to point out too is that the polls, I mean, from what I'm seeing, they're pretty close. But you look through the comments in here, I mean, there's absolutely no reason for these comments to be censored or biased in any way, because if they were, we know Twitter censors conservatives and has a left-leaning bias, so there's absolutely no reason for these to be biased. But you look at all these comments, like almost all of especially the ones that are liked the most, they're very anti-Trudeau. I mean, this one's, Canadians are not laying around waiting for your handouts. We are not lazy bums, and we are hardworking, responsible people, and we all want a fair wage and a steady job, and we are capable of supporting our families. The next comment, what's the cause, please? The next comment, the sign of desperation upon the Liberals' promise to give our own money back after raising taxes to pay for it. Such a shell game for Canadians have had enough. Walk in the snow. The next one's kind of a meme of him just throwing money around. The next comment, you know why it would be a radical idea? Lower taxes so people can have some more of their own money and manage their own lives. We don't need the government to take all our money and give us crumbs back. And then the next one, can you allow Parliamentary Budget Office to independently cost your entire platform? And again, those are the top 5 or 6. I mean, there's definitely some that are supporting him. Well, this one's got 24 likes. And how much will you increase my taxes for this? I'm broke. So people seem to be pretty against the Liberals in Canada, but yet they're still polling high. And I think the main reason for that is just the bias in the mainstream media. Obviously, the Trudeau Liberals paying off the media to basically be supportive of him. You've seen in the last debate that Trudeau wasn't at. The moderators were defending him on more than one occasion, I believe, even though he wasn't there, which if he wanted to get himself defended, he should have been there. He had no reason not to. So, like I said, the Canadian election is, I think, just over a month away. I think it's on the 21st of October. It's the 18th today. So things are coming up very, very quickly, and the goal definitely needs to be to get Trudeau out. The problem is Scheer is kind of a little too milquetoast and not conservative enough to really do anything. And by not conservative enough, I mean not good enough to make lasting change. I think he's going to get in, make very little change that's for the better, and people are going to be like, get pissed off at that, and then they're going to vote back for some left-leaning candidate promising a bunch of free stuff like a Trudeau or whoever the next NDP leader is. So I'm going to keep talking about the Canadian election. I want to talk about it quite a bit because it's very important, and I'm going to make other videos obviously too when other news comes out. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe and stay tuned for more.